Hare Krishna. Welcome back to the Bhagavad Gita discussion. Yesterday we completed the first chapter, which was in four classes. The first class was the introduction. So today we will begin with the second chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, which is one of the second longest chapters in the 18 chapters. There are two long chapters. One is the second chapter, and the first longest is the 18th chapter. The 18th chapter has, I don't remember now how many verses, but more than 72 verses. I think it is 77 or something like that. So that's one of the longest chapters. Uh, the second chapter is titled by Srila Prabhupada as the contents of the Gita summarized. And generally, in uh, the Gita press book, it is titled the Sankhya Yoga. Baldev Vidyabhushan gives this title. Vishwanath Chakravarti also gives this title, but he gives another title in his book, which I will come to when I take up the first verse. So these are the sections which are going to come up. The first section is verses 1 to 10, Arjuna's further doubts and surrender. So we'll go to this section. As we go through the sections, I will also describe and connect the flow between one section to another section and the connections, how the connections are, because Vishwanath Chakravarti focuses on more on that, the flow of the verses and the flow of the connections between one verse to another verse and one theme to another theme. So I will go into more detail. I'll not give an overview now right away, but we'll go by section, and as we discuss the sections, I will that time go through the different links and connections to the sections. So Sanjay further continues. In the previous chapter, we saw Evam Mukta Arjuna Sanke Ratopasta Pavishat Vishwajam Sasaram Chapam Shoka Samvigna Manasa. Shoka Samvigna Manasa. So that was his state, and Sanjay is describing this to Arjuna. Now, in the second chapter, the continuation is Sanjay speaks. So let's discuss verse 1. Sanjaya Vacha Tam Tata Kripaya Vishtam Ashrupurna Kulekshanam Vishidantam Idam Vakyam Vacha Madhusudana. Sanjay said, Madhusudan spoke these words to Arjuna. Tam tata idam vakya vacha. So seeing Arjuna like this, Sanjay is describing this to Dhritarashtra, the scene that, Arjuna, because of the Vishada and these reasons, ahom, bhata mahat papam, yar kartum vyavasita aham, seeing this, and then, he puts his head on his hand and now he's like this. And seeing this, Madhusudan spoke. Sanjay is describing this to Dhritarashtra. Madhusudan spoke. So that's why Madhusudan spoke these words to Arjuna. Tam tata idam vakya vacha. Whose eyes were filled with tears. Ashru purna akula ikshanam. So you can imagine, first of all, for a Kshatriya to show cowardice on a battlefield, to run away from the battlefield is considered a coward act. But to not fight and, give up his bow and arrow and just sit down depressed, that is also unheard. And forget, for a Kshatriya to cry, that too on the battlefield. Kshatriyas are not known for this, and generally, Kshatriyas are considered very hard-hearted. Generally, the Kshatriyas seem to be very externally soft, but internally in their heart, they are very hard. The Brahmanas sometimes might be externally very hard, but internally in their heart, they are very, very soft. And for Kshatriyas to show this kind of, tears on that too in front of a battlefield, in front of an enemy, it's not, unheard. That's why Kshatriya sometimes, when there is a marriage also, they, just ruthlessly just kill people just like for game's sake, for their happiness, That was generally, an event which used to always happen in marriages, especially in a Gandharva Vivaha, So like that. But here now, Ashru Purna Akula Ikshanam. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur in his word to word meaning, he mentions Akul as restless, just like Vyakul. Vyakul means, one is very restless. So his mind was reeling, and he was, all these bodily symptoms are described. And Ashru Purna, his eyes were brimming with tears. Tears were just flowing, eyes filled with tears. Ashru Purna, Akul means restless, like Vyakul, and was overcome with compassion. Kripaya avishta vishidantam. So again, this compassion, although it is paraya, it is not transcendental, because this compassion is vishidantam. He's crying, So this is not real compassion. This is not real compassion. Prabhupada in his purport quite in detail goes, that compassion for a dress is senseless. Real compassion is for the soul. Of course, we will see what only Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur and Bhaktivinoda Thakur will comment. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's commentary on this is very short. In this second chapter, after destroying the darkness of bewilderment and lamentation of Arjuna by distinguishing the body from the soul, Krishna speaks about the characteristics of the liberated soul. So, a short, one-line commentary. Atmanatma viveka shoka moha tamo nudan द्वितीये कृष्ण चंद्र अत्र प्रोच मुक्तस्य लक्षणम. He will, speak about the procha means to speak. Atra here, muktasya lakshanam, the characteristics of the liberated. That is the sthita pragya section, which will come from 2.55 to 2.72. So, generally, we can quote the Sanskrit transliteration and then read the English. Then it will become more interesting, but it will take a lot of time. And we would like to also do justice to the subject and not spend a lot of time in doing the, Sanskrit reading and the English. But here I put this because Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur titles this chapter as Atmanatma Viveka Yoga. Atma means the soul, and Na Atma. Na Atma is, the body. That is distinguishing between the body and the soul. So that is also a chapter title which Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur gives to his, second chapter. Okay, so let's go to the. So what did Madhusudan speak? That is there here in the second verse. Shri Bhagavan Vacha Kutastva Kashmalam Midam Vishame Samupastitam Anarya Jushtam Aswargam Akirtim Karam Arjuna. The Lord said, how has this bewilderment, Kuta Kashmalam Idam, come upon you, Tuam Samapastitam, at the time of battle, Vishame. It is against Dharma, Anarya Jushtam, precluding Swarg in next life, Aswargam, and fame in this life, Akirti Karam. So here, first time in the Bhagavad Gita, Sri Bhagavan Uvacha comes. Now, although Sri Bhagavan is speaking, but actually he will take the role of the spiritual master only in the 11th verse. And in that sense, you can say from the 11th verse onward, it is Lord Sri Krishna, the spiritual master of Arjuna and the spiritual master of the whole world, speaking. Because here, although Sri Bhagavan is speaking, but Arjuna has not accepted uh, Krishna as his spiritual master. So it's like a friend speaking. And that's why, Krishna, Arjuna, retaliates to his argument. Now, another thing is about Sri Bhagavan is, many times great personalities are addressed as Bhagavan, like Vyas Bhagavan or Narad Bhagavan, but they are never addressed as Sri Bhagavan. So Sri Bhagavan is a title exclusively for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And in one sense, the Sri is referring to, his Shakti, because the Lord is always accompanied by Shakti, that is Srimati Radharani. all his potencies, because Lord without his potencies is as good as, Brahman, as good as Brahman. So the Lord with his Shaktis, the Shaktis in the Vaikuntha, like the Shri, Bhu, and the Neela Shaktis, and in the spiritual world, Srimati Radharani. So Shri Bhagwan. So Shri Bhagwan is a title which is exclusively to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is addressed. So let's see Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's commentary. Now, from here onwards, just to make, as we discussed in the first chapter, that it's a inner dialogue which is going on between Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's commentary is like a dialogue going on, in what is going on in the heart of Krishna and Arjuna. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur brings out, and through Purva Paksha, that is, he raises a doubt and then he himself answers. So the blue is Krishna speaking and the green is Arjuna answering. So here, why, Kuta, has this bewilderment, Kashmalam, at this critical juncture of the war come upon you, Pastitam Vishame? Just like, in the modern context, there is a cricket match between India and Pakistan or India and Bangladesh, and there is a last ball and India has to hit a six, and everyone is watching, and the batsman, suddenly becomes depressed and he gives up his bat and he sits down there, and then, the captain will come running inside the stadium and the coach will come, you know, Kutastva Kashmalam Idam Samape Pastitam, he might say. At this point, you cannot become depressed. So at just the war is about to begin, and how can this bewilderment, Kashmalam? So Kashmalam here is bewilderment which has come. This bewilderment is not to be experienced by persons of good reputation, Anarya Jushtam, and is against both happiness in next life, Aswargyam, and in this life, Akirti Karam. So that's what only Vishwanath Chakravarti writes. So I'll not go further into the details. Klaibyam sma gama partha naitatvaya upapadyate shudram hridaya daurbalyam tektotishta parantapa. Do not become a coward. Klaibyam sma gama. This is not suitable to you. Na etatvayi upapadyate. Give up, tektva, this low weakness of the mind. Shudram hridaya dorbalam, or the weakness of the heart, and rise, uttishta, O afflictor of enemies. Parantapa. So Parantapa means afflictor of enemies. That's what Krishna addresses as Arjuna. Paran tapayati. Paran tapayati iti Parantapa. One who gives tap to others is called as a Parantapa. That is how this is Parantapa. Okay, Krishna. Do not become cowardly, Clabium. Do not become important. Clabium means don't become important. O Partha, though you are the son of Pritha, you have acted like this. Do not yield to this. This may occur among other inferior Kshatriyas, but in you, my friend, it is not proper at all. Now Arjuna replies, do not worry about my lack of bravery. Do not think I am a coward. One must consider the precepts of dharma in regards to Bhishma, Drona, and other elders, and also consider the aspect of compassion in regard to the sons of Dhritarashtra, who, being weaker than I, being afflicted by my weapons, are about to die. So here Arjuna replies, I'm not coward. Hmm? I don't, there is no lack of bravery. Don't think that I'm a coward. One should see dharma with respect to Bhishma and Drona. So what are the precepts of dharma with respect to Bhishma and Drona? He will reply now very soon. And especially aspect of compassion for the sons of Dhritarashtra. But this compassion is, again, we saw it is material compassion. Now, when Arjuna replies like this, Krishna says, this is not discretion from principles of dharma, nor it is mercy. This is not discretion from principles of dharma, nor it is mercy. It is bewilderment and lamentation which are indications of a weak mind. Shudram Hridaya Daurbalyam. So, this Hridaya Daurbalya is a very important point, which right in the beginning of the Gita it comes. And somehow here I'm inspired to speak about it because we just had a Japa seminar and we were pointing out that after 10, 15 years, when we see that the anarthas are still sticking to the heart and we don't work on the anarthas by chanting focusedly, we just give up on our chanting and we say, I am like this, my nature is not going to change. And just we don't, by chanting inattentive rounds, actually you feed in the anarthas and the anarthas increase. And then, externally you might remain as a devotee, you know, coming to the temple, doing services, attending the kirtans, but, to chant with focused attention, once you give up, that is because of Hridaya Daurbalya. So this is the root of all the anarthas, Hridaya Daurbalya. And it is how, afflicted Arjuna and he's bewildered and that's why lamenting. You know, it will come up again when Krishna will start addressing Arjuna in the 11th verse. That time we'll take up. Therefore, give up this weakness of the mind and rise up. Tekto uttishta parantapa. So, because a friend is addressing another friend, instead of Arjuna rising to fight, his false ego rises and he replies back. O conqueror of enemies, Parantapa, you who afflict enemies, fight. So Parantapayati iti Parantapa. Now Arjuna, instead of rising up and fighting, he fights back to Krishna in his argument. Katam Bhishmam Maham Sanke Dronam cha Madhusudana Ishubi Pratiyotsyami Pujarva Arisudana. Arjuna said, O Madhusudan, killer of enemies, Arisudan, how will I fight with arrows? Katam aham ishubi pratiyotsyami. Ishubi means the arrows. Katam, how? Aham, I can pratiyotsyami. I can counteract arrows against, in the battle, Sanke against Bhishma and Drona. Bhishma Dronam cha were worthy of worship. So, one should consider the precepts of Dharma had said, because this is his argument now, which Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur will bring up in the commentary. Now, Arjuna is saying, according to scriptures of Dharma, we saw in the previous discussion, Artha Shastra were quoted Atataina. And if there is a contradiction between the Artha Shastra and the Dharma Shastra, because the Dharma Shastras are superior to the Artha Shastras, we'll have to follow the injunction of the Dharma Shastras. So now Arjuna is quoting, according to scriptures of Dharma, not respecting those worthy of worship is the cause of bondage. Is a cause of bondage. Pratibadnati hi shreya pujya puja vetikrama. So he's quoting now from the Dharma Shastras, which is superior to the Artha Shastras. Therefore, I withdraw from fighting. How can I kill them? The form prati yotsyami, Parasmai pada is used instead of the form prati yotse, Atmani pada for oneself. Okay, this is to do with Sanskrit. We need not worry. Now, Krishna replies, but those two elders are fighting against you. Why are you not able to fight against them? When they are ready to fight, why are you not fighting against them? Arjuna says, no, I cannot do so, for they are worthy of worship. Puja raha. I should offer flowers to their feet in devotion rather than sharp arrows in anger. So this is what. Then Krishna says, O friend Krishna, even you injure only the enemies in battle and not your own Guru Sandipani Muni or your friends the Yadus. O Madhusudana, killer of Madhu. Now, it's very interesting. As this conversation is happening, please try to understand, as I was mentioning, a whole range of emotions of rasa although, there is a lot of philosophical tattva which is discussed by Srila Prabhupada, Baldev Vidyabhushan, our acharyas. But as we had mentioned in the first class, that Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is, discussing from the rasa point of view, the sweetness of Krishna. So here, if you see the words, Katam Bhishmam Aham Sanke Dronam Cha Madhusudana. So when he addresses Arjuna as Madhusudana, now Arjuna says, Krishna, you're Madhusudana. So Krishna turns back and says, what are you saying? You think that I am the killer of Madhu in my family lineage? Because I am now coming here. But I am the descendant of Madhu in the ancient lineage of the Yadu dynasty. Therefore, I am called Madhava. How could I have killed Madhu? No, I don't mean that Madhu. That Madhu who is Arisudana. I am speaking about the demon named Madhu who was your enemy, Arisudanas. Because Arisudana comes in the last line. Oh, Arisudana you're speaking. I thought you're referring to me, Madhus. How did I kill my own family descendants? So here is the footnote. Madhu was the father of Vrishni, who later's descendants included Vasudeva and Devaki. So there was another Madhu who was the descendant in the lineage of, Vrishnis. The demon Madhu, along with his brother Kaitaba, appeared after Brahma appeared from the lotus of Vishnu's devil and stole the Vedas from him. Vishnu consequently killed them. So Vishnu killed both Madhu and Kaitaba. It is not Krishna who killed, but it is Vishnu. But again, here he is being addressed as Madhusudana, who is a Arisudana. So in one sense, there's a lot of deep exchange happening at a rasa level between Krishna and Arjuna, when Arjuna addresses Madhusudana, how you would you kill your spiritual master Sandipuni Muni? And then later on, when he refers Madhusudana, oh, you're telling that I killed my descendant Madhu? No, 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 I'm not referring to that. I'm referring to Madhusudana, who is Arisudana. Then Krishna is, he just relaxes, So like that, the exchange is happening here. Now, further, he elaborates, why I should not, based on dharma, kill these great personalities who are my teachers, who are worthy of worship and respect. Gurun hatva hi mahanubhavan shreyo bhuntum bhaikshim apiha loke hatvarth kamanstu guruni heva bhunjiya bhogan rudira pradiggan. It is better to eat by begging. Bhaiksham bhuktum api shreya in this life. Ihaloke. Not killing such great elders. Mahanubhavan guruna ahatva. So we'll come to this he mahanubhavan. There is a deeper meaning to this also. We'll come to that. Having killed elders, gurun hatva, we were even desiring wealth. Artha kamanstu, Hatvan, we are trying to kill our elders and superiors and our gurus. Why? Artha kaman, I will enjoy objects. Iha bhunjiya bhogan, contaminated with their blood. Rudira pradighan. So now Krishna says, if you don't want the kingdom, how will you live? Now it is interesting. Kshatriyas need a kingdom to rule because that is their occupation. And it is interesting when Krishna went as a messenger to the Kauravas, Duryodhana and Dhritarashtra, he did not ask for one village. He asked for 5 villages because the Pandavas were 5 and each needed their kshetra. Each one had to have their kshetra. So now Krishna is asking here, if you don't want a kingdom, then how will you live? Arjuna said, not killing my elders, I will live by begging, though it is condemned for the Kshatriya to do so. It is better to eat the food got from begging. Though it will bring infamy in this life, it will not be auspicious for future lives. So you can see how dharma is subtle. Arjuna is completely thinking contrary. He is thinking, let there be infamy in this life. but there will be auspiciousness for the future lives. Whereas true dharma is that, he has to do, although it is looking for him as infamy by killing his own relatives in this life, but it will bring auspiciousness in the future lives also. So it's completely opposite. What is dharma is taken as, what is adharma is taken as dharma sometimes, and what is dharma is taken as adharma. This is the mode of ignorance. One should not say that these gurus being obedient to Duryodhan should be rejected because they have become proud and do not know right from wrong by citing the scriptures. So Arjuna cites the scripture. Gururapi avalipsatasya karyakaryam ajanata utpat pratipannasya parityago vidiyate. This is from the Mahabharata. One should reject the guru who is proud, does not know proper behavior, who becomes engaged in sinful life. So this is the injunction. They, on the contrary, are great souls. He Mahanubhavan. What fault is there in Bhishma and others who have control over time and lust? Now, when Arjuna gives this argument, Krishna says, but Bhishma said to Yudhishthir, what did Bhishma say to Yudhishthir? Artasya purusho daso dasastu artana kasyachit iti satyam maharaja paddosmi artena kaurave. Man is the servant of wealth. Artasya purusho dasa. We are all servant of wealth. Wealth is not the servant of anyone. Dasyastu artana kasyachit. O king, Bhishma is addressing to Yudhishthira, I have been bound by the wealth of the Kauravas. Iti satyam maharajo baddosmi artena kaurave. So this is the reason in the Mahabharata that why Bhishma fought for the side of the Kauravas. Because, he had taken a vow that, whoever is ruling, uh, whoever is ruling, I will always abide, be on their side. And now, because I am bound by the, financial facilities given by the Kauravas, so I'll be fighting. So this is an external reason, in one sense, which comes in the Mahabharata. But in the Bhagavatam, the real internal reason comes, and I'll not go into detail, but I just want to highlight this, because Mahanubhavan. So if you take the he from the verse, Gurunu ahatva he Mahanubhavan. So if you take he and Mahanubhavan, so it is Himaha. So Himaha refers to him as ice, and Ha means to destroy. So this refers to sun. So the sun can destroy ice. And Anubhavan means one who can, such personalities. So Bhishma was such a personality that although he took the side of the Kauravas because he is bound by, the wealth, but his purity remained intact. He was not affected. Just like the sun can absorb the contamination, but the sun doesn't get affected. So that's why he was a great soul. And that's why Arjuna is saying, they have control over time and lust, you know. And that's why we should not see any fault. Therefore, because he has taken the wealth of the Kauravas, here Krishna is arguing, therefore, has not their great character been destroyed by such desire for wealth? No, it is not destroyed. Although Krishna is presenting this argument because of he Mahanubhavan, as I mentioned. So the real reason why Bhishma and Drona fought on behalf of the Kauravas, because it was the will of the Lord Because had Bhishma and Drona not agreed to fight on the side of the Kauravas, then the battle of Kurukshetra would have not happened. And Krishna's desire was to annihilate all the demons. So the battle to happen, the Kauravas needed Bhishma and Drona. This is one reason. Another deeper internal reason is that Bhishma is in Veer Ras with Krishna, and he wanted to relish the Veer Ras. And that's why even when Krishna shot those arrows, and some of the arrows hit uh, Krishna, Krishna took it, and those were like Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur mentions the wounds of a lover who bites the beloved, you know. So there was internally a Veer Ras they were relishing, and also the internal reason is that Bhishma and Drona had to fight on the part of the Kauravas so that the battle of Kurukshetra could happen and Krishna's will to destroy all the demons would happen. And ultimately, Krishna also wanted to show that even a personality like Bhishma is there on the side of the Kauravas, still they cannot win. So like that, there are many reasons, but I'm just briefly mentioning here. So therefore, has not their great character been destroyed by such desire for wealth? Now, Arjuna replies, that is true, but if I kill them, I will be unhappy. So he doesn't tell this deeper reason which is mentioned in the Bhagavatam. It is true, but I will be unhappy. Even in killing those Kurus who are greedy for wealth, Artha Kaman, if I should enjoy the wealth, it will be contaminated by their blood. You know? Therefore, in killing them, because I commit the sin of killing Guru, my enjoyment will be mixed with that sin. So that's why I don't want. Now, Vishnu Chakatagur says the meaning is this: though they have desire for wealth, they are still my gurus. So that is, you know, that is the explanation for this verse. Now, we'll come to the fifth reason, which is indecision, which is a very important discussion, which will come in the sixth verse. Before that, if you have any questions, I would like to take up till now. If you have any questions, any clarifications. Any questions? Navneet Kalra Mataji. Yes, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes.
I needed some clarification. There was a word Shudram Hriday Daurbalyam. What is
Yes.
the significance of the word Shudram?
Shudram is basically the weakness of the mind. Shudra is, one who laments. So he was lamenting, Arjuna was lamenting, and that is because of the weakness of the mind. So that is why he's addressed as Shudram.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Any other questions? Yes, Beer Krish Prabhuji.
Uh, Hare Krishna, Vrodhanattam.
Yes.
Prabhu, this uh, uh, Bhishma having desire for wealth, I mean, Prabhu, is it really? I mean, I don't know
No,
how.
no, it is given in the Mahabharata. Bhishma tells the external reason why he has to fight
But
on behalf of the
actually,
Kauravas is
but even
because, pardon?
when he was offered for the entire kingdom, he just denied that no, I don't want kingdom. It is just uh, his vow that he will protect the kingdom, but he will not take the vow.
Yeah, but they were maintained, by the Kauravas. Drona was maintained by the Kauravas. They were ruling, so they are bound by their wealth in one sense. So that's an external reason. That's what the Mahabharata is a shastra which deals with dharma, artha, and kama. Very little of the moksha in the Narayani is taken up at the end, but it is basically speaking from the dharma, artha, kama viewpoint. So that's why the external reason is mentioned there. And that's why I gave you the internal reasons from the Bhagavad perspective. So from the Bhagavad perspective, that's why we have to see, even if you want to read the Mahabharata, we should see from the lens of Srimad Bhagavatam and understand the Siddhanta based on the Srimad Bhagavatam. That's why Srimad Bhagavatam is called as the Nirnayaka Shastra. And all other Shastras are Nirnayatara Shastra. Otherwise, we might stick on to the external reasons. And this is the reason, karke. But the deeper reason is given, as I mentioned, from the Srimad Bhagavatam. Prabhupada brings out in his purports in the first canto, 9th chapter, Bhishma Dev leaving his body there, brings out that. Of course, there are many other points which time doesn't permit us to discuss. But in essence, the reason is that Bhishma wanted to relish the Veera Ras with his worshipable Lord. And Krishna wanted that these personalities come in the side of Kauravas so that the battle of Kurukshetra can happen. That is to fulfill his desire. So that's why. And that's why they had that purity. And their Hi Mahanubhavan, Himaha and Anubhavan, like that. No, I just mentioned the deeper meaning of Himaha and Anubhavan. No, Himaha means Hima means the ice, and Ha means to destroy. And what destroys the ice is the sun. Anubhavan means one who has the capacity or the capabilities. The sun has that. So although they fought on the side of the Kauravas, still they did not become degraded. They maintained their purity. That's the point.
All right. Thank you.
Any other questions anyone else has? Okay, we'll take few more verses and finish one section today. Okay, this is very important verse. Now, Arjuna replies, but because he is bewildered, he's not able to decide. And then he speaks this verse. And the fifth reason is indecision. In fact, this is the reason which really, ultimately takes him to surrender. When at our level of consciousness we cannot solve, then we have to take shelter of a superior consciousness. So that's when he speaks 2.7 Karpanya dosha pahata swabhava prachami tvam dharma sammudachita. So this is that reason, indecision. Nachaitad vidmah kataranno gariyo yadvajema yadivano jayeyo यावानेव हत्वा न जिजीव शामस् ते व्यवस्थिता प्रमुखे दातराष्ट्रा. Nor do we know, na cha etad vidma. Which is better? Katara? Na Gariya. Gariya means which is better? Conquering them? Yad va jayema? Or being conquered by them? Yadi va na jayeyu. If we kill the sons of Dhritarashtra, yaneva hatva, we should not care to live. Na jijiv vishama. Yet they are now standing before us on the battlefield. Te dhatarashtra pramukha avastita. So you can understand the deep predicament what Arjuna is going through. Okay. So I'll come to this in the next verse. I'll discuss this. What exactly is the crisis of Arjuna? But let's try to understand, the reason of indecision. Now, for Arjuna, he is a Kshatriya. And there are two options what can happen in this battle. One is he can win or he can lose. Okay. Now, he has to perform his Kshatriya dharma. And if he decides to give up his Kshatriya dharma, and take to begging, then it will incur to sin, right? Now if he wins means he is going to kill his gurus and all his relatives. So winning is also losing, and if he loses, that's also bad. So, Kshatriya fight, here I'll put this fight, and not fight. So if he does not fight, he is not doing his Kshatriya duty, then he will incur sin. If he fights, then there are two things which can happen. Either he can win or he can lose. If he wins, all his relatives will be killed, and that's why we should not care to live. So it's as good as losing. And if he loses, that's also bad. So you can imagine what type of a crisis he is going through in his, just like when there is a decision between good and bad, the choice you have, whether I have to go to the temple or go to a alcohol bar, you can weigh what is good and bad. But that decision is quite relatively clear. But when you have a decision between, when you're a devotee and you know your initiating spiritual master is taking a yatra to Mayapur, and the same dates your instructing spiritual master is taking to Vrindavan, and you have to decide among the two. So it's very difficult to decide. So similarly, he is in this kind of an indecision, because if he wins also it is losing, if he loses also it is losing. That's also bad. And if he gives up to Kshatriya duty of not fighting also, he's going to incur sin. And if he fights also, he's going to incur sin. That's what he also is arguing here in this verse, because killing gurus, it will be tainted it will be tainted with their blood, that enjoyment. So you can see this is the kind of indecision he is going through. Okay. Now Arjuna is bringing out this. Moreover, I do not know if I shall be victorious or defeated, even if I am prepared to kill them. And I do not know which is better, victory or defeat, if I conquer them or they conquer me. And even if I am victorious, that is also defeat, for I will not want to live. Na jijiva maksha. And then, now because of this indecision, then he surrenders. This is that verse. कार्पण्य दोषोपहतः स्वभाव पृच्छामि त्वां धर्म सम्मूढ़ चेता यच्छ्रेयसान् निश्चितं ब्रूहि तन्मे शिष्यस्तेऽहं शाधि मां त्वां प्रपन्न. My nature has become upahata swabhava by weakness, karpanya dosha. My mind is bewildered about dharma. Dharma sammuda chetaha. I ask you, Prichami Tom, which is best? Yat Shreyasyat. Please tell me with certainty. Nishchitam Bruhi Tanme. I am your student, Shishyasteham. Please instruct me. Shadi Mam. Shadi Mam has nothing to do with marriage. Shadi. Shadi here means to instruct. Who have surrendered to you. Tvam Prapannam. So here Arjuna surrenders. That is because of at his level of consciousness, he is not able to resolve this conflict which he is going through. And that is indicated by the word dharma sammuda cheta. Dharma sammuda cheta. So what is that dharma sammuda cheta for Arjuna is an ethical crisis. What is an ethical crisis? It's like two moral choices. As I was mentioning that, when there is one moral and another immoral choice, then it is easy to decide. But when there are two moral choices, then that's called as an ethical crisis. Among the two, which one? So, Kula Dharma versus Kshatriya Dharma. See, if he does his Kshatriya Dharma, then he will be killing all his relatives. So he will be not able to protect his relatives. He'll be killing them. And to perform his Kula Dharma, he gives up Kshatriya Dharma and lives by begging. That is also sin. So that will also he'll incur reactions. So he is not able to weigh between the two. Just like in the weighing scale, he's not able to weigh and understand which one he should follow, whether his Kula Dharma or the Kshatriya Dharma. And Krishna ultimately, forget Kula Dharma and Kshatriya Dharma. He takes her to the higher Dharma, That is the Jaiva Dharma, Dharma of the soul. That is to do the will of the Lord. The Dharma of the soul is to do the will of the Lord, and that's will come in Bhagavad Gita 18.66. So from 2.7 to 18.66 is the whole process of surrender, gradually evolving, which and Prabhupada right from the beginning in the purports brings out this in his Bhaktivedanta purports, ultimately. So this is what is the ethical crisis which Arjuna is facing. Now, Krishna says, indeed, while speaking the meaning of scripture to bring out the conclusion, though you are a Kshatriya, you have decided to become a beggar. What is the use of my speaking? He has surrendered now. I am your disciple. Please instruct me, he has said. So Krishna, you see what is the, wonderful dialogue happening between Krishna and Arjuna. You are only speaking the meaning of the scripture and conclusion, and you have concluded, though you are a Kshatriya, I have decided to become a beggar. Then what is the use of my speaking? Now, Arjuna says, giving up my natural courage as Kshatriya is my weakness, Karpanya. My intelligence has become bewildered in trying to understand the implementation of Dharma. Dharma Sammuda Chita, as the path of Dharma is very subtle. Dharmasya Sukshma Gati. So the path of Dharma is very, very Sukshma. That's why we need the guidance of the spiritual master. Therefore, it is better that you decide and tell me. So you tell me, that's why he says. Now Krishna says, but if you defeat my words by posing yourself as learned, how can I speak? I am your student and will no longer uselessly pose you. He says, okay, here it should have come down here. But I am your student and I'll no longer oppose you, Arjuna says here. So that, because when Tvekto Uttishta Parantapa Krishna said, then he replied back, that I am speaking from Dharma Shastra, how you should not kill a guru, guru nihatva, he had spoken. He tried to defeat his words. So, but now I am your student and will no longer uselessly oppose you. And he says. Now, further, Arjuna expresses his deep level of surrender that, it is only you who can give me the solution. And, he expresses it that in this verse, Nahi prapashyami mamapanudyat yat shokamuchoshanam indriyanam avapya bhumo asapatam ruddham rajyam suranam apichadipatyam. I do not see. Nahi prapashyami. Pashyami means to see. Prapashyami means prakrishrupena pashyami. Who can remove apnuyad, this sorrow, yat shokam, which is drying up my senses, mama indriya utshoshanam. Even if I attain avapya, an unraveled prosperous kingdom, asapatyam riddham rajyam. Riddham means, prosperous, siddhi riddhi we say, na? On earth, bhumo, or even sovereignty over devta. Suranam api chadipatyam. Now Krishna says, but you have a friendly relationship with me, not one of respect, because they are both in Sakyaras, right? Therefore, how can I make you a student? You should thus surrender to someone like Vyasdev, whom you greatly revere. Arjuna answers in this verse. Vishwanath Thakur says, no, that's a flow. I do not see even one person at all. Prapashyami. That's why pra is used. Pra indicates to a high degree. Prakrish Rupena, I cannot see. In all the three worlds except you who can remove apnuyat, my sorrow. So when one, Prabhupada says that as long as one is not completely disgusted with material life, one cannot take up to spiritual life seriously. That no amount of any enjoyment, no amount of any material post in this world will give me happy. And then when one surrenders to the spiritual master, one can make progress, I do not know anyone more intelligent than yourself, even Brahaspati. Therefore, to whom else should one who is full of sorrow surrender? Due to that sorrow, yet my senses have dried up completely. Just as intense summer heat dries up completely a small pond. Utshosha means utkarshena shosha. Just like in the summer can dry up a complete lake, similarly, this sorrow has dried up all my senses. Now you are full of grief, but if you fight by conquering the enemy, you will attain the kingdom. Okay, this has to be in blue. Krishna is speaking now. I don't know, somehow there was some mistake. So Arjuna, Krishna is saying, now you are full of grief, but if you fight by conquering the enemy, you will attain a kingdom. Absorbing yourself in the enjoyment of that kingdom, your grief will disappear. Arjuna says, no. Even if I attain a kingdom over the whole earth or sovereignty in Swarga, controlling all the devatas, my senses will still be dried up. That's why initially when we come to practice spiritual life, nothing in this world will satisfy me and I'm looking for the real goal of my life and surrenders to the spiritual master. That is our sincerity. There is a saying, in English, it's a spiritual saying, of course, that it is our sincerity which brings us to Krishna consciousness, and it is our sincerity that by which we can, stay in Krishna consciousness. So as we advance in Krishna consciousness, we might get a lot of facilities, and we'll forget the miseries of material existence, that why we came, how we came to surrender. So similarly, Arjuna, you will forget all this once you win the battle, and get the kingdom. No. Even if I attain the kingdom over the whole earth or sovereignty in Swarga, controlling all the devatas, my senses will still be dried up. So then, Sanjay narrates, Eva mukta rishi kesham gudakesha parantapa na yotsiti govindam uktva tushnim bahuvaha. Sanjay said, having thus spoken to Rishikesh, Eva Mukta Rishikesham, Gudakesh, the afflictor of enemies. Gudakeshana Parantapa, telling Govinda, Govinda Muktva, I will not fight. Na Yotseti became silent. Tushnim Bahuvaha. So here, uh, of course, Vishwanath Chakravarti doesn't mean why Krishna is addressed as Govinda, because, we have the three principal deities, the Madan Mohan, is our Sambandha deity. Then there is the Govinda Dev, and then there is Gopinath, the Prayojan deity. So Govind is our Abhidev deity, and he gives the knowledge. So Krishna is going to now give Atma Gyan, and that's why Govind Dev is going to speak. So, and na yotseti Govinda, I will not fight. He became silent, Tushnim Bahuva. It's not that Arjuna has decided, no, tell me how, this fighting is going to bring benefit, is going to benefit me. So he is ready to hear the instructions, and that's why he's silent. It doesn't mean that he has given, it's not that I surrender to you, but I will not listen to you. That's not what is the mood of Arjuna here. Uktva tushni bahuva. Tell me how this fighting is beneficial for me. So that is what the meaning is. Now, when Arjuna speaks like this, what happens? Sanjay narrates, Tamuvacha Rishikesha prasanniva bharata senayor ubayor madde vishidantam idam vacha. Rishikesh, smiling slightly, Prasanna Iva spoke these words, Idam Vacha Vacha, to the depressed Arjuna, Tam Vishidantam, in the midst of the two armies, Senar Ubayor Madhe. Again, there is a very Rasika commentary here. Krishna says, you have shown lack of judgment. Laughing at him as a friend could put Arjuna into an ocean of embarrassment for his unworthy actions. Just like imagine a disciple, he's going through some crisis in his life, and because of being afflicted by Maya or whatever it is, and he comes and surrenders to the spiritual master and narrates, and he's lamenting, I know this is all bodily consciousness, and spiritual master laughs at him. Already he's bewildered, he will become more disturbed. So laughing will, at a friend would put him in more embarrassment. However, because now Arjuna took the position of the student, laughing would be improper. Krishna is just thinking this in his mind. Thus, Krishna suppressed that laugh by closing his lips. So he closes his lips. Instead, he slightly smiled. Prasanna iva. The Lord of the senses, Rishikesh, was previously controlled by the words of Arjuna out of love for him. We spoke about this, when Arjuna said, Senoyor Uber Madhe. So we saw that how the Lord has prema for his devotees. And now he became the control of Arjuna's mind, again out of love for the benefit of Arjuna. So again, this is the second verse in the Bhagavad Gita. How when we hear the instructions of the spiritual master and follow the instructions of the spiritual master and control our minds, that is actually, in one sense, it is exhibiting the love of Krishna for us. So Krishna again uh, became the control of Arjuna's mind because again out of prema. Arjuna's dejection and Krishna's offering consolation to him were seen directly in both army by both Sena or Ubarmate. And the meaning also is that because this event is happening between both the armies and everyone heard it, so Bhagavad Gita is meant for everyone. Okay. So that ends this section, and tomorrow we will begin, or next week we will begin the Jnana section. This is very, very interesting. Okay. So any questions, any clarifications you have up till now? Okay, three questions. Okay, let me first mute you all. Yeah, Sumit Kapoor Prabhuji. Yes.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dhananam.
Yeah.
Prabhuji, in one of the Bhaktivisa classes, someone asked me that, as you mentioned that uh, it all happened in the middle of both the armies, so everyone heard this. So when we talk about the Virat Roop, so was that also seen by everyone?
That when we come to the 11th chapter, we'll see that. No hurry. We'll just,
Okay.
Krishna by his Yoga Maya showed that. So only those who are qualified, it is mentioned like it is only Krishna, what was happening, others could not really,
Okay.
it was only to Arjuna and some pure souls and some in the higher planets, the Devatas, they saw it. Otherwise,
Okay.
nobody could understand what was happening during
But
that time.
these words were what were these words of Bhagavad, like Arjuna and Bhagwan?
Yeah,
So
that the dialogue was seen, but
were heard by everyone.
the vision, what was given, the vision was only given to Arjuna. Divyam me dadami chakshu.
Yes.
That will come. And that is, quite not well understood. I have know that by the devotees. When we come to the 11th chapter, we'll go into more detail of that.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm not talking more on the Virat Roop. So on this particular, that everyone heard the Bhagavad Gita. So now when Lord is speaking on the battlefield and Lord is transcendental, when he is speaking the Bhagavad Gita to all the people who are present there, so why that only Arjun only got benefited, and he was that the case that Arjun only got benefited, that or the other people who heard Bhagavad Gita also got benefited?
Well, you see, even Dhritarashtra heard the Bhagavad Gita
Hmm.
directly from Sanjaya.
Hmm.
Once jokingly, one of the senior Bhagavad Gita preachers is a very, very elderly devotee and Bhakti Shastri teacher who's been teaching Bhagavad Gita for many years.
Hmm.
He told me that he gave a class in the temple and many devotees were sitting in the class. And then later on, one devotee, after the class was going over, he was going out, and one devotee came and he said, I heard the class, it was very nice. And then he told, where were you in the class? I did not see you. Proja is hearing live on the YouTube channel.
Hmm.
Said even Sanjay narrated to Dhritarashtra live, the Bhagavad Gita, but there was no transformation in Dhritarashtra. So Dhritarashtra also heard,
Mm.
but yet there was no transformation because he did not have that Sukruti, right?
Yes.
Only Vidura, when he came back, and when Vidura preached,
Mm.
Dhritarashtra, although he transformed, but he could not take up to Bhakti Yoga, he took to Ashtanga Yoga because of his offenses towards the Pandavas.
Mm.
So, because basically, they did not have that Sukriti, that's why that transformation did not happen. But some who were great souls there, they knew, they understood the message that we should really understand that. Is it clear?
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Navneet Kalra Mataji. Yes, I have unmuted you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes.
Yeah, am I audible?
Yeah, very clear.
Yeah. Prabhuji, I have a question. Bhishma Deva and Dronacharya, were they knowingly following their Jaiva Dharma?
Yes, that's what. It was the will of the Lord that they participate in this battle on the side of the uh, Kauravas. You know, it was the will of the Lord, and that's why they did that. And you can understand you know, uh, the quality of Drona. That although he knew that Drushtadumna in the future he will learn this military art and he'll kill, but he still did not withdraw in giving knowledge to him. That is the quality of a Brahmana. So, yes, they had to participate so that to execute the will of the Lord in that sense. So, generally, when the Lord enacts pastimes in this world and the characters he chooses, some are eternal personalities who come from the spiritual world, and some are personalities like demons also who participate, you know, by which he can, you know, give us great lessons. And the eternal personalities, the Nitya Siddhas, Parshads, they will go back to the spiritual world. But those who are either pious or demons who participate also, they will get elevated. When the demons who are killed, they will get liberation. Then what to speak of those who are great souls like Bhishma and Drona? Of course, we know that Bhishma is an eternal personality. He goes back to his planet Parsarthi in the spiritual world. There's no mention of Drona, but generally we can understand from, you know, from the. I don't know because I've not read the Mahabharata, but he's also a very great personality. Okay.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Yeah, Parampara Prabhuji. Yes.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, in first chapter you mentioned when Gudakesha came, you
Pardon?
mentioned Gudakesha, the word Gudakesha,
Goda
which
Kesha,
comes.
Goda and Akesh. Yeah.
Yes, you said something related to giving pleasure to Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh.
Yeah.
Can you just, I did not quite clearly understand that one. Is
No,
there any
A
reference for,
means Vishnu, Kha means Brahma, Isha means Shiva, and Guda means sugar. So one who gave Guda to Brahma, Shiva, and Vishnu. That means Arjuna gave, you know, uh, sweetness or rasa to even Brahma, Shiva, and Vishnu because uh, Krishna became the servant of his devotee Arjuna, and you know, who is Krishna? He is the source of Guna avatars, and the Guna avatars follow his orders. And see, our Lord is following the orders of his devotee. That means what devotion Arjuna has. Seeing that, they are wonderstruck and they are feeling, you know, reverence, and they are attracted to the sweetness of Krishna. So that is what Vishwanath Chakravarti brings out as a deeper meaning of Godakesha there.
okay, and in 2.9 also that same word comes Gudakesha,
But
Parampara.
there he doesn't give that meaning, but definitely it is in 1.24. In that context,
Okay.
it is there.
So
But
it comes in Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's commentary only. It's
yeah, this
explained.
Godakesha, another meaning comes in Vishwanath Chakravarti's commentary only. Here you cannot apply that right now because here, you know, Uh, Here it is, the context is different now. Arjuna, Rishikesh is now going to speak to, you know, Gudakesha. That is Arjuna. And Arjuna is now Gudakesha. He is a Parantapa. He is the afflictor of enemies. You know. So here you can say another deeper meaning comes. You know, Gudakesha means one who doesn't sleep. Okay, this was another meaning we saw, na? One who is
Yes.
beyond ignorance, right?
Yes.
So here it is mentioned that in the Mahabharata that Arjuna is to daytime practice archery, and once in the evening, in the olden times there used to be lamps, and he was taking his meal, and suddenly the light, the lamp, because of the wind, blew off, and he continued to eat. And he said, if I can continue to eat, then I can also in the night shoot, arrows. So he started practicing archery in the night also. So day and night he was practicing his archery, So in that sense, he was totally absorbed day and night, you know. So one who, doesn't sleep at all. He used to not sleep. So that is the point we should come to, So that's why here Gudakesha has that meaning, you can say. Is it okay?
Okay. Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Any other questions anyone else has? Okay, there is one more last question. Bir Krish Prabhuji, yes.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, this in verse 2.7, Dharma Sammood Cheta, it is mentioned that Aruna
Yes.
is completely bewildered between, whether to fight or not to fight. And then in verse 2.9, he says, Na yotsya, means finally he takes side of ki, I will not fight. So it was half-hearted decision.
That's why he's not able to decide. He's not able to. Dharma Sammuda Cheta, I mentioned. What was that dharma? That ethical classes are between Kula Dharma and his Varna Dharma. That is the Kshatriya Dharma. And I don't know how fighting is beneficial for me. Na yotse iti govinda. Na yotse iti govinda. Uktva tushnim. He became silent. Tell me how fighting is beneficial for me. So, because he has surrendered, he is ready to listen now. So he's going to speak, he's going to hear. So that is the mood, It's not that, I have surrendered and I will not hear, what you are going to instruct me. I'm not, because he said, Shishyasteham Shadi Mam Tvam Prapanna. So that means he's ready to hear. Okay. Is it clear?
My point was, there he is completely bewildered. He's not able to decide. But in 2.9, he says, "No, Yotze, I will not fight." Matlab, he's taking side of it. He's kind of deciding not to fight only.
No, that's what I mentioned. The deeper meaning here, I will not fight means tell me how fighting is beneficial for me. How fighting is beneficial for me. Though he wants convincing answers. He's ready to hear now how this fighting is going to be beneficial,
Right.
So in that mode it is there. That is what. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll stop here, and we don't have any class on Saturday, Sunday. Monday we'll get back. Okay. I'll share the slides for the first chapter. As these chapters are getting over, I'll share the slides with you. Okay. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Granth Raj Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Hare Krishna.